This is a continuation of my reading of The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, my spiritual text. This one will be on giving. Actually, a video that I made earlier about organizing things in life. We must know why we give. We must know the beauty of what we give. My name is Tarab. I make videos about emotional intelligence every day. And this, hopefully my friend, will enrich your spiritual life to help you actualize your potential. On giving. Then said the rich man, Speak to us of giving. And he answered, You give but little when you give of your possessions. It is when you give of yourself that you truly give. For what are your possessions but things you keep and guard for fear that you may need them later? And tomorrow, what shall tomorrow bring to the overprudent dog burying bones in the trackless sand as he follows the pilgrims to the holy city? And what is fear of need but need itself? Is not dread of thirst when your well is full, the thirst that is unquenchable? There are those who give little of much which they have, and they give it for the recognition that their hidden desire makes the gift unwholesome. Read that again. There are those who give little of the much they have, and they give it for the recognition, and their hidden desire makes their gifts unwholesome. And there are those who have little and give it all. These are the believers in life and the bounty of life, and their coffer is never empty. There are those who give with joy, and that joy is their reward. And there are those who give with pain, and that pain is their baptism. There are those who give and know not the pain in giving. Nor do they seek joy, nor give with mindfulness of virtue. They give as in yonder valley the myrtle breathes its fragrance into space. Through the hands of such as these God speaks, and from behind their eyes he smiles upon the earth. I will read that part again. And there are those who give and know not pain in giving. Nor do they seek joy, nor give with mindfulness of virtue. They give as in yonder valley the myrtle breathes its fragrance into space. Through the hands of such as these God speaks, and from behind their eyes he smiles upon earth. It is well to give when asked, but it is better to give unasked, through understanding. And to the open-handed, the search for one who shall receive is joy greater than giving. And is there aught you would withhold? All you have shall someday be given. Therefore give it now, that the seasons of giving may be yours and not your inheritors. You often say, I would give, but only to the deserving. The trees in your orchards say not so, nor the flocks in your pasture. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish. Surely he who is worthy to receive his days and his nights is worthy of all else from you. And he who deserved to drink from the ocean of life deserves to fill his cup from your little stream. And what desert greater shall there be than that which lies in the courage and the confidence, nay, the charity of receiving? I read desert. And what desert greater shall there be than that which lies in the courage and the confidence, nay, the charity of receiving? And who are you that men should rend their bosom and unveil their pride, that you may see their worth naked and their pride unabashed? See first that you yourself deserve to be a giver and an instrument of giving. For in truth, it is life that gives unto life, while you, who deem yourself a giver, are but a witness. And you receivers, and you are all receivers, assume no weight of gratitude, lest you lay a yoke upon yourself and upon him who gives. Rather, rise together with the giver on his gifts as on wings. For to be over-mindful of your debt is to doubt his generosity, who has the free-hearted earth for mother and God for father. I'll read some of these parts again. And who are you that men should rend their bosom and unveil their pride, that you may see their worth naked and their pride unabashed? See first that you yourself deserve to be a giver and an instrument of giving. For in truth, it is life that gives unto life, while you, who deem yourself a giver, are but a witness. You know, it's interesting. Every time I read this book, and mind you, you can clearly see that I didn't read this before, recently at least. Every time I read this book, I realize how much more humble I should be in life. Because it's stated so elegantly and so truthfully. It's stated through like a lens of peace, you know, of raw observation of life. And giving is such a large part of business. Giving is such a large part of having a satisfying life in general, that I think a lot of people never really spend the time to think about what it means to give something to someone. And this kind of breaks it down in a very interesting way. I particularly like the dog that buries its bones in sifting sand when it's following the pilgrimage to the holy city, right? So it's like it's referencing people that, out of fear of losing the things that they have, we tend to kind of withhold stuff that we have because we might not have it later, or really illogically we hold the stuff that we have, where we hoard things that we have. We're covetous, some of us. And it's short-sighted because when we actually give that away instead of holding it for no apparent reason, it tends to come back in interesting ways. And really, even if we have pain, for instance, as is referenced in the chapter, giving that away, I believe it's better than feeling nothing. I believe it's better than feeling safe, because we at least have a different understanding of ourselves through the process of giving. Now, the paragraph that I'll read again, and there are those who give and know not pain in giving, nor do they seek joy, nor give with mindfulness of virtue. They give as in yonder valley the myrtle breaths breathes its fragrance into space. Through the hands of such as these God speaks, and from beneath or behind their eyes he smiles upon the earth. So this is referencing to people that just give with no intention besides giving. And I find myself often, especially in the pursuit of Tarabafai, in the pursuit of financial well-being, and really growth in life, that Tarabafai for me is a legacy channel. It's a legacy brand. The things that I've thought about, the gifts that I've been given in life, I want to share with everyone that possibly can, that is willing to, I guess, just take it, right? Like a tree fruiting, just take it. If you want it, take it. And I realize that oftentimes the best videos that I make, the best artwork that I make, the best conversations that I have, often tend to be ones where I have no ulterior motive. And I give the advice to have plans, to do things with reason, to have intention behind our actions, the way that we socialize, the way that we go about giving out our time in general. And I say that mostly as a way to protect ourselves. Being compassionate, kind people, oftentimes I believe we take our time for granted. We take our energy, our giving to people for granted. And people thus take that for granted from us, and we get hurt because we're not giving anything back. But I think the assumption is that we will be able to understand what we are given back by the universe. And this kind of goes into a religious kind of spiritual thing, which obviously Gibran is a spiritual religious person, vaguely. But it makes me question that. To be kind and compassionate, to give for the sake of giving. I believe there's very few human beings on this planet that will ever consistently do that, not wanting anything back. And frankly speaking, I believe it's a bit of a fallacy in this philosophy of things. That he almost deems it to be the highest virtue to give without wanting anything back. And the reason that I believe this is a fallacy is because humans are not trees. Because a tree has the ability to give, has the ability to be unbiased, because it is completely at the mercy of its environment. Entirely at the mercy of its environment. Meaning, a tree is the essence of tenderness, is the essence of just taking it all in. So by virtue of receiving all of that all of the time, it has the capacity to give all of that all of the time, which in humanity, the way that we exist as a society, the way that we exist as financial structures, as society, or as groups of individuals that need to work together and create things, we get to pick and choose our environments. And that means we get to pick and choose what we receive from. And that means that we only really have the ability to give the quality of what we can give is the quality that we choose to receive oftentimes. And now you can choose to receive a lot. You can choose to receive beautiful things from the universe. You can choose to receive an appreciation for your very breath, your body, your circumstances. If you choose to receive that, then the way that we give is necessarily going to be a byproduct of this. So, I suppose, in a sense, in order to become someone that can give wholeheartedly, like God, and to not have any sort of desire to receive anything back, I think we have to genuinely believe that we are infinitely receiving. That we are receiving everything. And now that, my friend, is a very, very difficult thing to do in life. Not impossible. Perhaps something worth aspiring for. It's kind of like the question, should we pursue our life with a sense of freedom? Or should we pursue our life as a slave looking for freedom? If at any point we are a slave, then for that entire period we are not free, and then at some point we break into freedom. But really it's just a philosophy. It's a way to look at life. Deep sentiments. Hopefully you understand where I'm coming from. Now the last part of this I think is very interesting. And I think what I just kind of said is very similar to what he goes into with the orchard, the tree of the orchard, and him saying, and he who has deserved to drink from the ocean of life deserves to fill his cup from your little stream. meaning any given organism, you're not some hot shit. Like, life is life, and you're just a part of it. So give. The last part of this is also really, really interesting, because receiving is also can be done gracefully. So, for instance, if you get compliments and you are not good at saying thank you, or you bash them away, or you say, whatever, it wasn't a big deal, then it's not only that you're not letting that into yourself as a sense of kind of like false modesty maybe, but also you're not allowing the person that gave you the compliment to feel good about them giving you the compliment. So you're taking away twofold. But the other thing is, and I read this in Living and Dying with Grace, Counsels of Hazrat Ali, where he said, make friends with people that are wealthy, because their capacity to give is greater. And wealthy obviously means whatever it means to you. It is what it is. But to make friends with a wealthy person and to always be counting debts from what they give you, you'll always be in the hole. Right? So like that essentially will always limit the type of person you can spend your time with. And the idea, I believe, in relationships, the most efficient idea is always to make friends with people that are better than you in some capacity, that you aspire to be like in some capacity, to actually receive from them. And instead of counting debts and balances and this and that, to constantly be giving all of what you can give to that person, and hope that they're also a giver and they will give everything that they can give. And to not do tit for tat in relationships. Because when we get into that, it muddles everything. It's kind of like, it's like what Jim Rohn said. He no longer thought about things as, I'll do this for you if you do this thing for me. He thought about things as, why don't you become infinitely better for me, and I'll become infinitely better for you. So the idea of becoming a more powerful, more connected, a more kind, a more wise person for the sake of other people is like saying, regardless of what I get in life, I will always give 110% of what's in me to everyone else. I think it's a very powerful way to live. I think it's an ideal, particularly, that I aspire for. And I think if more people aspired for this type of gratitude and giving, I think the world would be a better place. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you found this interesting. If you did, this is the last video that I made on the last chapter of the Prophet. This one's probably pretty long. But yeah, I'll keep reading these chapters to you and to myself as a way to get back to the basics, a more graceful life. Actualize your potential, Catalyst. This world needs you. Take care.